What's up, everyone? 7-Star Mike here with this week's chart reviews. Not a whole lot going on for me. I've got 11 tickers that I'm looking at here. With all the headlines and what's going on in the world right now, the markets might be a little crazy. So it's kind of a wait and see whether we brush off any kind of a headline, whether we take a dive. It's just kind of a volatile period right now, so I'm not really looking for a whole lot of long-term stuff, but there are a few charts that popped up with some things of interest. We're going to start with Target. This green line is the 34 exponential moving average. You can see we bumped right against it on Friday, and then we popped up a little bit. We closed just about right where it is. So if that line does not hold, we do have a gap to fill over here. So looking for Target, kind of wait and see again if that 34 exponential moving average holds as support, or if we do drop below that, maybe we work on filling this gap over here. Next up is PayPal. A lot of eyes on PayPal. I've been watching for it to break above this ascending triangle pattern, which we did get a little bit up there. We didn't get the movement that I've been looking for with it. So it's still kind of on watch. We're still above this resistance level that was back here. So just kind of watching to see if we get any kind of strength here. The 200 moving average is right under that line. So it's a matter of, does that line hold as support and we can finally get a move upwards, or if that breaks down and we come back below that previous support line of about 108.50 area. A lot of eyes on PayPal for the last week or so. People have been watching for that breakout and it just hasn't come about just yet. eBay is up next. What I like about this one is the 34 exponential is moving downwards, and then we start seeing it level off. Friday we did touch upon it, but we closed above it. So as long as we can get that moving in an upward direction, if there's any kind of upward movement here, eBay again still has that gap to fill over there. The 34 leveling off here, bounced against it Friday, but closed above it. Not super strong, but it is above there. So I want to see that hold as support. And then we can start working towards this 36.65, which is this upper wick resistance here. We tried to test it there, couldn't quite get all the way up there before getting rejected. Want to see a push towards that and then maybe a gap fill over there for eBay. Yum was a play that I had on a previous watch list. It's still working on filling this gap over here. This resistance area here was tested but failed. It broke above that and it's holding above it for now. So I still like to see this one long term for that gap fill. 34 exponential moving average, you can see a nice downward slope and then it starts leveling off here. We are above that. We're above this 101.19 area, which was this prior resistance. So looking for that to hold as support with some upward momentum, we can look for that gap to fill over there for YUM. WFC, this one we had a nice upward swing over here and then some consolidation for a few months here. We're in about 2 months of straight consolidation. Little dip there, but we pulled across. We've got support at the 34, support, and if you look Friday, we broke below it. We tried to climb back up and it closed just under. So if that area now holds as resistance, you can start to see we had a nice upward run and then over here it's just consolidating. You can start to see it kind of looks like it's rolling over to the downside. It is below the 34, so as long as that holds as resistance, we're looking for some downward momentum here. I don't think it'll drop all the way to the 200. It could, but there's obviously going to be some support right in here in the 52 area, maybe somewhere down here where this wick was resistance, this wick was support down in the 51 area. 50, nice whole number. So there's some room to the downside for there if this 34 exponential now holds as resistance. There is ER coming up, so that is something to keep an eye on as well for WFC. LB is the next one. Same kind of idea on this with the 34. We've got a downward sloping action and then just some straight consolidation here for a little bit. We're above the 34. We had a nice move on Friday. So looking for this one to push maybe up to that 200-day moving average. The thing I like about this one here is if we put a line over here where we had prior support, that's right over here. It meets up with that 200-day moving average. So this prior support line and the 200 being right on top of each other, that would be kind of an area that I'm looking for this to move up to. So as long as we get some upward movement, that would be LB, looking for a touch of that prior support and the 200-day moving average. MCK McKesson. Thing I liked about this one is we had support at the 200, support at the 200, support at the 200, and Friday support at the 200. So right now that line is acting as support for us. Want to see if it's going to hold. If we get a break below that, we can look for some downside action. It's looking kind of weak here. We have a high up here, lower high, lower high. The 34 is moving down. So we don't see a lot of strength to the upside, so just waiting for that 200-day, which was prior support a bunch of times, waiting for that to crack and then see what kind of downward movement we can get for MCK. ATUS, not a name we hear too much. This one has a prior, way back here, prior resistance becoming support, becoming resistance, and we broke above it on Thursday and Friday. So there is a nice gap to fill up here. So we're looking for a gap fill on ATUS. Again, looking for this 2750 area. Prior resistance became support, became resistance. We're now above it. So looking for that to hold as support again and working on filling this upward movement gap. LLY. Going way back over here, we have resistance, we have this huge cup pattern, and then just some consolidation right under that resistance area of about the 132 area. So down here, we're in the 100 range, and we came all the way up here to 132. So that's a nice run without a lot of pullback. You would expect some sideways movement, maybe a pullback, definitely some consolidation at the very least. It happens to be over here right where this was resistance. We're consolidating right under that area. So definitely a area to watch is 132. We punched way up here to the 137 area for this wick and got pushed down. So if we break that 132 area, at the very least we know we have potential to go back up to that 137. Nice $5 move. Just watching to see if this line is going to hold as resistance and if we get a pullback, or if we're going to break through that and then maybe go test this high over here. That's LLY. Next up is WB. Same idea on this one with the 34. We had some downward movement and then it just started curling upwards. So I like that. Thursday and Friday we broke above the 200-day moving average, so I like that as well. We had a good move Thursday. We gave some of it back on Friday, but we're still above the 200. So one thing I'm looking for on this one is this line over here that was prior support. If we go ahead and drop a line in there, you can see that was prior support. It was prior resistance over here, false breakout. We did break out above it, but on earnings we gapped down. Now we're kind of hovering in that area again. That's the low $50 area. I've got it as 50.21 on here. Doesn't have to be an exact line, but low 50s. And we closed Friday at 50.13. So we're just below that area here, which was prior support, became prior resistance, false breakout. We gapped below it. Now that we're above it, we're kind of flirting right in that area above the 200. So looking for an upside movement on this one, at least to the highs over here at about the 55 range. And last for tonight, SHW, Sherwin-Williams. Here's what I was looking at with this one. We have some resistance over here for a few days, then it became support, and we're right on that line right there now. So that's the 56.45 area. If we break below that, the 200 is way down here at 506. I don't expect one day to drop that much. It might take a few days. It's probably going to make some erratic movements in there. So we can look at maybe some support over here in the 552 area, maybe somewhere down in this area. There's some kind of resistance / consolidation over here at 525. So will it drop to the 200? Possibly. Would it do that in 1 or 2 days? Probably not. But we had some prior resistance here, prior support here, and we're just sitting about that area here. So if we break below that 564.45-ish area, looking for some downside movement. And that's what I've got for you this week. Hopefully there's something in there that grabs your attention that you might be able to trade if you haven't had a watch list set up for this week. keep in mind there is a lot of stuff going on in the world. The markets can go up, they can go down. It's going to be pretty erratic until this is all figured out. So just watch your positions, be ready to react. If you've got some really long-term stuff, maybe don't worry about it as much. If you're trading short-term, you definitely want to keep an eye on what's going on day to day. Watch for the headlines, watch for how the market reacts to those headlines. And here's a few charts that might have some potential moves for you. Find one that suits your trading style and watch those positions carefully if you're trading short term. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Let's get some green tomorrow. Happy trading.